On this day in Louisville, Kentucky, these 8 men went to camp to speak the words of the Most High Power. And as they had done countless times before, but on this day, they were attacked by a vile mob of heathens and sinful men who sought to take their lives and stop them from raising up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
That's right.
However, in accordance to their training and the love that they had for one to another, they fought their attackers side by side.
That's right.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
On to death if necessary.
That's right.
And at the end of the conflict, they prevailed and returned to their homes and to their brethren and their wives and their children. All was lost except one thing they brought back. They brought back the Bible.
That's right.
And delivered it back to this nation.
Shalom, Israel. You know what it is. This is Kentucky 8 Podcast. Shalom, Israel. This is Israelite School UPK, Israelite World News, Kentucky 8 Podcast. Bring you all the latest world news that concern Israel, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, especially concerning this Bible, especially concerning Israel. So let's get straight into it. Our first story: China denounces U.S.-Australian Navy drills as muscle flexing. Now, these type of things right here are letting you know what's going on with the world and with the other nations. While black people in America, while we're trying to join other nations, we're trying to show love and trying to be one with everybody, these other nations are having Navy drills and muscle flexing in preparation for World War III. Let's read it. China on Friday said the U.S. and Australia were flexing their muscles with recent Navy drills in the South China Sea, underscoring Beijing's sensitivity over the strategic waterway it claims as its own. See, what you don't understand is these waterways are very important, strategic importance, and much, much more. That basically what lost the World War II was the naval battles. Tons of naval battles were lost by Japan to the point where they had to damn near do kamikaze missions just to try to keep the onslaught at bay, because they were losing so many ships. They had the Yamamoto, all these famous Japanese warships that were getting sunk, that were getting destroyed. America was taking more ground in the waterways than ever. And this is what happened. You understand? These strategic waterways are very important. Now, Australia trying to flex its way and show how great it is in the water, that's a serious issue, because that let China know that it can be touched. That let China know that it can be chokehold and made like Russia, where they have all these so-called embargoes and ways to stop their economy. These other nations ain't going for it. All right, let's read more. The ships honored their advanced marine skills in a joint environment while enforcing the normalcy of routine operations throughout the region in accordance with international law. Let's go down. In a bid to assuage concerns, Beijing hosted foreign ministers from the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations this week, with Foreign Minister Wang Yi telling them China remained committed to signing a long-stalled code of conduct on activities in the South China Sea to prevent conflicts. They want to sign all type of bills because they know how important this is, how important the waterways are. Now, I wish our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, could understand how important certain things are to us. You know how important things are to us that that we should hold dear, and that we should not turn over to these other nations. Like we should never turn over our school system to these other nations. We should have kept through the civil rights movement. We should have kept everything, all the schools. Like, look, we want civil rights. We want to be treated equally, but we want to keep our schools. We want to keep our small businesses. We want to keep our black independence. I wish our leaders would have said the same thing. You understand? If we would have said the same thing, maybe we wouldn't be in such a bad position that we in now today. Let's go into the next story. Joe Biden, the incredible vanishing president. Images of Joe Biden giving speeches and shaking hands with foreign dignitaries during his ongoing trip. Seems like we got a brother popping in. Hey, shalom, mighty man, Lord Christ.
Hey, shalom, yo, what's your
Sign Christ, we getting it in on the international scale right now for today. We just did a story about China trying to keep its southeast China Sea from other countries invading that seaports because they claim they own that sea waterway. And I said, I wish our people would have kept some of the things for ourselves when we made all type of deals with these other nations. I wish we would have kept the black schools. We said, look, we want to integrate, but we'll keep all the black schools. We'll keep all the black businesses. We want to be treated fairly, but we'll keep all our education. We'll keep all our classes. We'll keep all our black teachers employed. I wish our leaders were wise enough to say that and keep things for themselves like these Chinese people do for themselves. Now we're going to go into the next story. Joe Biden, the incredible vanishing president. Images of Joe Biden giving speeches and shaking hands with foreign dignitaries during his ongoing trip to Europe will take up space in the news over the coming week. But once he returns to the United States, the pattern that prevails over the past 5 months will likely resume, which means the president will once again disappear. It was common for Democrats during the 2020 presidential campaign to talk encouragingly about how boring a Biden administration would be in comparison to the nonstop cycle of chaos, cruelty, and outrage that prevailed under President Trump. Where Trump tweeted partisan provocations day and night, keeping reporters and pundits furiously scribbling, analyzing, and denouncing 24/7. Life under a Biden presidency would return to normal, with a slower pace and the president receding from public view, allowing other people and topics to proliferate, and our nation's public life to settle down and heal, perhaps even with a modicum of unity returning. Now, they want to say we want a modicum of normalcy, well, of things to go back to normal. But ask yourself, black man, what's normal for America? What's normal? What is considered normal for us? Normal for black men to be killed by the police? Under Barack Obama, George Zimmerman was exonerated for his crimes for him murdering a young black teenager. Shalom, we got another mighty man in the building. What's normal? Ask yourself, what's normal for America? It's normal for America to lock up black men by the boatloads. It's normal for America to kill hundreds of thousands of black babies in abortion clinics. Do we really want to go back to normal under Joe Biden? Is that really what we want? Is that really what is a success to the black race? To go back to normal before Donald Trump. Before Donald Trump, black people were failing in every statistic you can find. Number one in drug use. Number one in homelessness. Number one in joblessness. Number one in depression. Number one in anxiety. Number one in deaths. Number one in child abuse and child molestation. Do we really want to return back to normal? Ask yourself, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. Is that what we really want? You brothers have anything you want to say about Joe Biden returning things back to normal?
I'm Tawaka.
Okay.
I'm Tawaka.
Okay. Let's go to the next story. This one's not. This one's definitely a important story because it debunks a lot of biblical naysayers. It debunks a lot of biblical naysayers that say, "Look, the Bible ain't real. Look what happened. Look what this happened." Lobster diver nearly swallowed by humpback has a whale of a tale to tell. Let's see if he's got a video.
Exclusive, a lobsterman says that he was swallowed up and spit out by a whale off of Provincetown. Provincetown fire officials tell us that the diver was 45 feet down when the whale grabbed him. The whale then surfaced and let that diver, Michael Packard, go. He was then pulled back onto his boat and brought to shore. CBSN Boston was the only camera there as the diver left the hospital. No one can tell his story like Michael himself.
I'm a lobster diver out of Provincetown, Massachusetts, and I was diving today, and I jumped over and I got down to about 45 feet of water, and all of a sudden I just felt this huge bump and everything went dark, and I could sense that I was moving, and I was like, oh my God, did I just get bit by a shark? And then I felt around and I realized there was no teeth, and I had felt really no great pain. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm in a whale's mouth. I'm in a whale's mouth, and he's trying to swallow me. And I thought to myself, okay, this is it. I finally, I'm gonna die. And I thought about my kids and my wife. I really, there's no getting out of it. And all of a sudden, he went up to the surface and just erupted and started shaking his head. And I just got thrown in the air and landed in the water. And I was free, and I just floated there. And I was just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I got out of that. And I'm here to tell it, and I thought my legs were broken, but I'm all bruised up, and I made it.
What were you thinking when you were in the grasp of this whale, other than you're going to die?
It was happening so fast. My only thought was how to get out of that mouth, and I realized there was no overcoming a beast of that size. That he was going to do with me what he wanted to do, and it was either he spit me out or he swallowed me, and I didn't. And I was actually in his mouth probably a good 30 seconds, but I still had my regulator in my mouth. I was still breathing, and I was just wondering. Actually, one of the things that went through my mind is just, oh my God, what if he does swallow me? And here I am, I'm breathing air, and I'm going to breathe in this whale's mouth until my air runs out. Crazy stuff.
Did a fisherman come by and help you when you got spit out?
Well, when I dive for lobsters, my mate, he follows my bubbles. And so he was right next to me, and he saw the whale come up and throw me out. And he pulled right over, and then another boat helped carry me and pulled me into the boat.
Right there, man. You can't tell us the Bible's not. You can't tell us the Bible's not real. You can't tell us the scriptures ain't talking about real stuff that didn't happen before. Here you go. This guy's was swallowed by a whale in the mouth of a whale for 30 seconds and it spit up. Same as the scriptures talked about what happened to Jonah. When Jonah was swallowed by a great fish. And he was spit back up after 3 days and 3 nights. The oppressor the oppressor would like to make you seem like, okay, you don't have no God. You don't have nothing that you can believe in that's going to save you. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob ain't going to save you, because if he save you, then he got to destroy us. So you know that's never going to happen. So then you got black people who follow that and say, well, look, the Bible could not be true, because it talks about how Egypt was destroyed and how these nations are destroyed for their evil. Well, then the Bible can't be true, because then America would have to be destroyed for its evil. And we know America not going to be destroyed. They love America so much that they couldn't fathom America being destroyed. Here to tell you today, the same way this dude got swallowed by a whale like Jonah, America going to be swallowed by the Lord and destroyed by the Lord like he did Egypt. Any brothers have any comments on this story? Let the brothers comment anytime they want. But yeah, so this is what happened. It's a true story. Similar to what happened to a brother in the scriptures, man. We try to tell you in the UPK, don't believe lies. Believe in the scriptures. All right. Let's get this next story. U.S. and Britain finally stand up to China's quest for global domination. Now, what's going on with China is on a global domination spree with all the things they're doing. And we talk about the Asians, the Asian that shot a 6-year-old black boy. America don't want no smoke with Asia. America don't want no smoke with China, because they see the power of the Chinese people. They see the power of the Chinese nations and the Asian nations, how they have come up in power. So they don't want to, go against the Asians. They'll write safety bills to protect the Asians, because they don't want no problems. What's they say? They don't want no smoke. The Hambantota port in Sri Lanka's southern shore has long provided a cautionary tale of just what can go wrong when countries become involved in China's Belt and Road Initiative. Built at a cost of $1.3 billion and funded by Chinese loans, ministers in Colombo struck a deal to sell an 80-piece stake in the port to a state-controlled Chinese group just 6 years after it opened. A little over a year later, Sri Lanka handed over the port to China on a 99-year lease. Now, what China is doing is giving these countries, especially these African countries, loans to build structures, ports, buildings in their kingdoms, in their countries. Now, through the loan, the African countries are supposed to pay them back. If at any time they have trouble paying them back, the Chinese government will come and say, no problem. We'll lease it. You can lease it to us for 99 years and it'll be paid up. This is a legitimate way that China is able to increase its footprint around the world, increase its land around the world, increase its resources around the world. And what is this going to ultimately end up as? It's going to lay out the field for World War III. It's going to lay out the field for World War III, because these ports, they are in strategic locations. They are in locations that China can use to expand its military and to port out of with its planes and boats and battleships. This is the plays that's leading up to World War III. There wouldn't be much of a fight if World War III were to kick off right now today, because America controls so much. But as America decreases and these other nations increase, the fight gets more real. Fight gets more real. You can't fight somebody who you can never defeat. But as these other nations increase, like China increases its land footprint and creates these bases all over, the fight becomes more real because the opponent is stronger. America is getting weaker as a kingdom, especially since blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are pulling away from this kingdom. Oh, best believe the UPK has a say in this all. What we're teaching our people is having our people pull away from what makes this society great, what makes this kingdom great. You understand? The holidays, the belief systems, the fact that black people join this nation and try to support this nation in so many ways, fight and die for this nation and its armies. What we're teaching in the UPK, every brother that we get into the UPK or that learns the knowledge is another brother that doesn't go into the prison system and become slave labor, that doesn't go into the military and become slave labor, that doesn't go into the white man's world and try to improve the white man's world. The more we teach, the more brainwashing our people get off of them. And as that brainwashing comes off of them, they don't give their allegiance and their spirit and their strength and their power and their money to this race of people, to this kingdom. And believe it or not, it will weaken this kingdom. I know everybody likes to think, oh, America is great because you got these great Caucasians. America is great because it has a slave labor force of cheap labor that it can use and abuse. That's what every major nation needs, especially a major nation that becomes rich. The richer you are, the more people you need to pay, more workers you need that are not rich, that you can pay pennies on the dollar. Okay. You brothers have anything you want to say on this story as far as China increasing its place on the earth?
Well, I just wanted to touch on what you mentioned about how America is becoming weak and how the role of the ISUBK in that. It's heavy that you say that because there's a ton of people that watch us. They won't admit that they watch us. They won't admit that they take their cues from the ISUBK. But as our influence grows and as our power grows, through the grace and mercy of the Most High, right? We will definitely have more of a say in how American weakens because Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans will start to pay attention and they'll see that everything that we've been saying is true. And none of it was for our own benefit. It was for the benefit of this entire nation. And we are absolutely, positively going to pull away from America, and America will go down without the Lord's chosen people.
Damn right. Damn right. Anything you want to add to that, Officer Madara?
Well, I just wanted to say, because Biden had went before the G7, summit with all these different European leaders talking about this and talking about how, China just has to be stopped because what they're doing is so, so terrible, how they're doing forced labor and discriminating against, what they consider the minority in their country. But at the same time, America has been discriminating against so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They've been murdering us, rounding us up, and throwing us into concentration camps. And it's just crazy that they can talk about what another country is doing and at the same time ignore what they're doing to the Lord's chosen people.
Right. It's a heavy point. Because, the veil is coming off. The scripture says...
You must be on mute, Cap.
Oh. Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yeah, but the brother was bringing out is heavy because the veil is coming off. The veil is, when you read in the scriptures, it says things won't be complete until the man of sin be revealed. What we're seeing is the man of sin being revealed. That we're with this, they got critical race theory coming out and being talked about in the masses. What has happened to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in this kingdom is starting to come up to the forefront of thought and talk. You understand? It's starting to come up to the forefront. Why? Because UPK is pushing it. And as it comes to the forefront, what we say, what the scriptures call is the man of sin being revealed, the son of perdition. He made himself into an angel of light. And who is that talking about? None other than the Caucasian himself. He has made himself into an angel of light. But once we see through his lies, once we see that he is not the angel of light, some serious things will start happening on the earth. All right. Let's get to the next story.
So like, I just want to say one more thing
Go
about
ahead.
that story. You know, how it is that China is going around building the infrastructure of these different countries, and you know, America sits there and, you know, like isn't this country supposed to be all about progressing these other countries that are, you know, living in poverty and don't have the same luxuries that America has? Aren't they supposed to be all about building up infrastructures? But then when it comes to China going and doing it, you know, Biden goes out his way to make sure to let all these different European nations know, like, this is a risk to the world as we know. And it, you know, the devil simply says that because China comes up against the white supremacy that it is that America has instituted across the earth. That's all I got to say.
Damn right, damn right. And some more dominance, some more players in the game. You know, black man, we a player in the game as well. We just have to fight a different fight. Our fight isn't, you know, some type of global domination kick. Our fight is getting our people to side with the Most High, who is the ultimate power for us. You know, we're not like these heathens. We don't have to fight on our own. We have the Most High to fight for us. Our main job is to get the Most High on our side and to be right with the Most High. So that's what we need to look to do, black man. Let's get this next story.
So I kept, I can't hear the
have
news
all
story
but broken
playing.
down.
Never
And
mind.
tonight, the White House says there's little hope for a. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We are going to begin tonight right here in Switzerland, where just hours from now, President Biden will face off with Russia's Vladimir Putin in what may be the most consequential and contentious showdown of his presidency. Now, sources tell CBS News Mr. Biden arrives at his first summit with the Russian leader with clear eyes and low expectations. Relations between the U.S. and Russia have all but broken down, and tonight the White House says there's little hope for a major breakthrough. Instead, President Biden plans to call on Mr. Putin to cooperate on the world stage and call him out for covert attacks and cyber crimes targeting American commerce and democracy. At another summit with Russia held right here 35 years ago, Ronald Reagan said he would trust but verify. Well, tonight, in a sign of how much has changed between these two countries, Mr. Biden now says he will insist on verifying before ever trusting Vladimir Putin. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is also here with reporting on one of the topics expected to be addressed tomorrow, those Americans being held prisoner in Moscow. But first, CBS's Nancy Cordes is here traveling with the president and is going to lead off our coverage. Good evening, Nancy.
Nora, everything we are going to see at this summit here tomorrow is going to be highly choreographed. The Americans leaving as little to chance as possible in order to avoid surprises. In fact, Presidents Biden and Putin won't even share a meal, even though they'll be sitting together in a room for hours. President Biden says he's going into this summit with full European support.
We're committed to the same democratic norms and institutions, and they are increasingly under attack.
He didn't say by Russia, but it's clear that's what he meant. In a provocatively timed move this week, the Russian Navy began conducting exercises with ships and long-range bombers just 300 to 500 miles west of Hawaii. Tomorrow's summit will take place at this 18th century villa on Lake Geneva. Presidents Putin and Biden will both be greeted by the Swiss president, who will make remarks and then leave. The two leaders will then be joined by one advisor each and an interpreter. They'll meet for a while as a small group, and then the summit will open up to 4 more aides from each side. All told, the meetings could last 4 to 5 hours.
Now, I wish I could be a fly on the wall to hear these meetings. Boy, it look like it's going down in this meeting, because every time it's a new president, they gotta really have a sit down with these other nations and let them know where they're coming from. You know what I mean? What you know, how they feel about this and how they feel about that, and and what their stances are going to be. You know, Vladimir Putin's kind of basically been the same guy. It's always a different U.S. president though that he's dealing with. You know, Lord will, this will soon lead to World War III, because that's what it's prophesied to do. Let's listen to a little more.
I'm going to make clear to President Putin that there are areas where we can't cooperate if he chooses.
Unlike President Trump's summit in 2018, President Biden will never be alone with President Putin, and he won't hold a joint press conference with Putin afterwards. Mr. Biden plans to press Putin on the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the poisoning and jailing of dissidents like Alexei Navalny, and the recent cyber attacks on U.S. businesses.
Companies are concerned about it.
I asked Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo today about Putin's claim that there's no evidence the hackers are based in Russia.
I think we all know that that isn't true. There is plenty of proof that a number of cyber attacks in the past few years have come from Russia, and the president, I think, will take that up with him when they meet tomorrow.
Nancy is back with us. So, Nancy, White House sources say they don't expect any big breakthroughs, but what are they hoping to accomplish?
Well, White House aides told us today what they really want is for both sides to come away with a clearer understanding of where their national interests do align, where they can work together, and the start of a plan for how to do that. They also want Mr. Putin to understand exactly how President Biden is going to respond if Russia threatens the national interest.
Now, what most people don't know, the scripture says when they say peace and safety, war is in their heart, and then comes sudden destruction. So as they're trying to come together and say like, oh, we need to find out what page we on and how we align and this and that, always listen to the forked tongue of the oppressor. When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh. So we're gonna see some fireworks. You know what I mean? As they try to say they're going to come together, we're going to see more fireworks. And Lord will, it's the fireworks that we need. You know what I mean? So brothers need to keep coming into this truth, keep changing their life, because it's the fireworks we're going to need to spark off World War III. And the brothers who have wisdom of the Lord, they know they're not going to be fighting in World War III, that actually World War III is going to lead up to the salvation of Israel, because Christ is prophesied to return at the peak of World War III. Any brothers have anything you want to say on this before I go to the last story?
That's super heavy. That's super heavy that they had it. I hope it all go bad. I hope the meeting go terrible. I hope that everything come out about, what Russia did, and if they did do anything, it all comes out. I hope that, the Russian president is, greatly offended by, the American president. I pray it all goes bad. I pray it does lead up into the Third World War.
Damn right. From my right, anything you want to say on the topic before we go to the last story?
Khan. I believe they had mentioned something about U.S. citizens being detained. I just wanted to touch on, that it's such a big deal that a couple, devils get detained by other devils, but yet when it comes to the Lord's chosen people, the so-called Hispanics, being incarcerated in them concentration camps along the border, you understand? Like there ain't ever any mention about that in the news. And sure, we have people out there who'll say, "Oh well, those people, they cross illegally. They're aliens." Okay, well, what about the American citizens in them concentration camps? Because there were Hispanics that fought in America's wars and have lived over here for decades, and yet at the same time they got snatched up and thrown in them ICE facilities, the same as any other brother or sister, fleeing the country it is that they came from.
Damn, and you are so right, brother. You are so right about bringing that out. You know what I mean? Because the world needs to hear this. The world needs to know what's going on with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in this kingdom. You know what I mean? And they try to put on this facade like they're this big great righteous kingdom, and these other nations they all got human rights abuses. America's been committing the most human rights abuses of all the countries, of all the nations. America got more civil rights abuses. The only problem is ain't nobody out here going to check America on it, especially not on behalf of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But the Most High is here. The Most High is the one who's going to be able to check America for his treatment for against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and the Most High is willing to do it. All we have to do is keep serving the Most High, get our actions to be righteous, man. The Lord ain't going to destroy this kingdom over drug dealers and crack addicts and whores and prostitutes and strippers and a whole bunch of gangbanging pimps. The Lord is not going to bring the destruction for us because of that behavior. The Lord will bring destruction because we come back to our heritage. We come back to the God of our forefathers. We come back to our nationality, to our way of life, to our ancestors, to following the Lord. Let's get this next story.
So, like, I just want to say one more thing real quick.
Go ahead, Ward.
I just want to touch on how, Officer Napata brought up how he hopes that all this goes terrible and the presidents just offend each other. You know what I'm saying? I hope Biden, not Biden, Putin just brings up, what it is America's doing to the Hispanics on the borders. You know what I'm saying? Just bringing up how much of a deceitful murderer it is that not only America is, but as well as Biden is. Because, we all know whenever America either goes to war or is about to go to war with another country, the country going to war with America, they always, do something to try to win the loyalty of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Like it was the Nazis, what they released flyers targeting so-called blacks. You know, saying the Viet Cong did something similar as well, targeting blacks, letting them know like we aren't your enemy. It's the Americans that are. So, Lord willing, Putin just gets on that devil's head.
Hell yeah, damn right. Speaking and the truth is going to come out. The injustices will come out, and the truth will come out, and the world will know. Speaking of how the world will know, this is one of the main things that's going on. That how we know proof that the world will know, and that the world is listening to the UPK. Critical race theory debate is about whitewashing the United States racist history. Hold on a sec. Slacky. All right. We just lived through 4 gruesome years of a president who spewed words of hate, often rooted in racism, on a regular basis and a global stage. Many of those words also happened to be lies, yet the Republican Party backed him every step of the way, citing the First Amendment, claiming that hate speech and dangerous lies should be fiercely protected under the guise of free speech. Now, the same Republican Party has made it its mission to ban our country's educators from teaching students the actual truth about history. This isn't surprising given Republican lawmakers' long history of promoting a whitewashed, misleading version of U.S. history in the country's schools. Trump himself created the 1776 Commission, a patriotic education organization that was meant to teach American exceptionalism to students and counter supposed left-wing indoctrination in our schools. He also signed an executive order that suspended federal training programs related to race, diversity, and inclusion in the months before the American people told him, "You're fired." The Republicans' current crusade against teaching race and racism in schools is part of the same tradition of erasing truth and amplifying fiction. Perhaps more importantly, it mirrors the type of dangerous, disturbing behavior of those history makers that modern GOP fears discussing. If today we talk about the racist and white supremacist of yesterday, then years from now we'll be talking about the racist and white supremacist of today, many of whom are the very same leaders trying to rewrite history. All right. Now, when we talk about critical race theory, Critical race theory is the teaching, basically, that that laws and the laws of America have contributed to racism. That laws of America were racist and that they were based by racists, made by racists, and were racist towards black people and other things that were done to black people. It's basically going into some of the evils that this society tried to say never happened. When they try to tell black people that we have an equal share and that things have been equal for years and years, critical race theory is basically planned to teach that those things are not true, that things were not equal, that things were never equal, that the laws of the country made it so it couldn't be equal. Therefore, there's been an unequal balance. People have been on unequal footing, and that this place, based on race, is racist. That's what critical race theory wants to teach, that American racism is true, and that American racism has happened and it has affected our people negatively. All the ones that want to stop this from being taught are the same ones who are usually Caucasian. They usually are the ones who don't want to seem, this is a lot of their arguments is they think critical race theory is racism itself. Teaching the truth that America has operated in a racist fashion is racism, which is complete, utter nonsense and bullshit. These damn Caucasians have done evil that need to be taught, that need to be talked about. And guess what? You don't have to put it in your damn schools. UPK, we're going to put it in the streets. We're going to put it on the internet. We're going to put it in every facet of of American life. And you'll never escape from it. The scripture says that they will say, we have inherited lies and vanity and things wherein there is no profit. That's a prophecy. That they're going to say their fathers inherited lies. And guess what? You Caucasians, your fathers did inherit lies. They did inherit things wherewith there is no profit. And you will not profit no more off the struggle of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and off the lies, because the Israelite School of UPK is here to teach it. And every time we teach class, every time we get on the airways, more and more people learn. More and more people see the truth. And it's spreading like something I would never imagine. I would never imagine. They got this new app called Clubhouse. And basically Clubhouse it's got a lot of black people who talk about issues and some white people, but you can get on there and listen to forums and people talk about issues. And I would never imagine that so many worldly black people would be saying and speaking along the lines of the UPK. Speaking right along our lines. I was in one group. It was a black girl who was married to who was sleeping, had a baby with a white dude and was sleeping with a white dude, not married. And she tried to speak on black issues, and brothers in the world shut her down. Brothers in the world shut her down because she was married to a oppressor. And they did not allow her to speak, and they did not allow her to bring her nonsense and bullshit because she was married to an oppressor. I said, damn, that's UPK right there. That's One West. Because before One West, nobody was doing that shit. Nobody was outwardly claiming and doing that and bashing and shaming the ones who are divestors or the ones who don't align with black issues. What we're teaching in the UPK is spreading. I don't know how, and I don't know where. The numbers don't add up, but the truth is spreading regardless. It's the spirit of the Lord, like the scripture says. Our YouTube views ain't in the 100,000s and tens of thousands, but guess what? 100,000s and tens of thousands of people are hearing the message that's coming from the UPK.
If I could.
Go ahead, Warrior.
That's so heavy that you say it, because it's just like what you taught about in class tonight, right? And how things that are bound in heaven are bound on the earth. Is loosed in heaven is loosed on the earth. That whole spirit that's moving on our people, that's loosed in the spirit world. It's going to be loosed physically here on earth. Like you said, our numbers ain't up in, the hundreds of thousands, but that whole spirit of people being fed up with the oppressor's bullshit, that's moving on the earth. People being fed up with traitors or people who made, and it's tough to call them traitors, right? because they did stuff in the world that they don't understand. But you can call them traitors, right? Those that would side with our enemies. Like, people are getting fed up with that, man. People are getting fed up with this hold hands and the world is coming together and all this other bullshit that we've been taught since we were young. And the spirit that's moving on the earth, that was loosed in heaven. And Lord willing, it take hold like a wildfire and our people wake up fast.
Damn right. Damn right. Officer Matarai, anything you want to say on this story before we get to the last part of it?
Cons, like I just wanted to say, I just want to see, all the Christians who for all these years have been sitting there saying, oh, black people, we're equal. Some of us have more, rights and privileges than white people in this country. But yet it's white people that are sitting there saying that all those lies it is that they've been taught and that they've taught to, through the generations, has been exactly that, a lie.
Damn right. Go ahead, Warren.
Also, too, Cap. Also, too, this is so reminiscent of what they tried to do with the Great Migration and trying to say that black people came over here as indentured servants. They tried to change the history books, and it was an uproar, of course, because they tried to be real sneaky and get, basically what they don't want to be charged with any crimes. They don't want to be charged with anything that they did. But like you brought out earlier, the Most High sees their crimes. It don't matter what they do. They can deny critical race theory. They can say that we migrated over here of our own, because we wanted to. They can say we were indentured servants. They can say whatever the hell they want to say. But the fact of the matter is that the Lord sees everything. He sees it all. He sees everything they did, all the babies they fed the alligators, all the Hispanics they locked in cages, all the people they hung, all the Mexicans they killed at the Alamo, all the people who died on the Trail of Tears. The Most High seen it all. And it's all, and the scriptures say the sins have reached to heaven. And it's going to be a time where it just boils over and blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans going to wake up and we're going to serve the Lord and he's going to send his son back. Right. And that's when the Third World War is right before that. The Third World War is going to kick off.
Damn right. Damn right. I'm going to get the last of this story. We're going to do some closing remarks. Let's go down. The fear of teaching American students how to think critically about race is alarming. If merely thinking about the construct of race is so dangerous, the practice of enforcing political and systematic divisions based on that same construct is even more dangerous. Consider what these whitewashed, often false historical narratives have done to the psyches of non-white students. Some textbooks refer to enslaved people as immigrants or workers, many of whom were not happy with their place within the peculiar institution of slavery. Others teach students that Christopher Columbus discovered America, totally disregarding the millions of indigenous people who inhabited this land before him, a concept that truly baffled me as an elementary school student. Where's the outrage about the ways those false teachings hurt non-white kids? Nonetheless, here we are. It sounds like an Israelite wrote this article. I ain't gonna lie. Let me see. Jamila Nasheed. Yeah, there we go. There we go, Yahoo News. That's why I like Yahoo News. But let me keep reading. Where's the outrage about the ways the false teachings hurt non-white students? Nonetheless, here we are. All of us, black, white, Asian, indigenous, descendants and inhabitants of a country whose history is deeply rooted in the practice of enforcing this construct of race. And I want to say one thing on what she was bringing out, because I've heard people on the other spectrum say that critical race theory is racist. Teaching that, black people, that this country was racist to blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, that's racist in itself. But this is what I want to say. What's being taught now in the schools is racist. We're being taught that Abraham Lincoln never tell a lie, George Washington, Appleseed, and this and that, and all this BS that we're being taught in schools now. That's racism, because we're not learning about our people. We're learning about only Caucasians and how great they are and how great they are in history. They teach about Thomas Edison, but Every historian knows that Lewis Latimer, a black man, was the instrumental person and character in the creation of the modern day light bulb, because he discovered the filament that can make the light bulb burn for days, when before the light bulb would go for 30 seconds and then blow up. He discovered the filament. He wrote the patents. A black man, Lewis Latimer. How come he was never taught in school? How come they never uttered his name in the school books? Right along with Thomas Edison's. Countless other black characters and black figures that have pushed this kingdom along in society with technology, with advancements in social structures. Countless ways that we then push this society forward, push this kingdom forward to be number one, but we were never mentioned. Those black people were never mentioned. But they want to say that, oh, if we start mentioning race, it's going to be racist. It's already fucking racist. Excuse my language. It's already racist. What's being taught now is already white supremacy. It's already white dominance. It's already white knowledge from a white perspective. They're not teaching from a black perspective. So what this sister's bringing out is heavy. Any of you brothers have anything to say on this part? Because there's one more paragraph.
Nah, I can hold off, Cap.
All right, Khan. Let me get the last part of the paragraph. The U.S. that we live in today, with all its flaws and beauty, wouldn't be what it is without race. James Baldwin, writer and activist, once said, "I love America more than any other country in the world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually." After all, how much can you truly love your country if in the telling of its story you insist on leaving out the parts that truly define it? To love a fictional iteration of your country is no patriotism at all. And that's to quote a devil, a Caucasian man. You understand? I believe so, James Baldwin. You can't love this country and not teach the whole truth. You devils, you will find this out the easy way or the hard way. Any brothers have any last remarks on critical race theory for today?
Yeah, kind of, sir. The whole thing, like Donald Trump said it. Like when they went through during the time where he was in office, they went through and they talked about how they were removing all the racist statues and General Lee's and all the Confederates and all these things. And Donald Trump was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You start removing this, you got to remove it all. And that's true. Like this whole damn thing got to burn down by the hands of the Most High. This whole damn country, everything has to go. It's all, it's all defiled. It's all, against the Lord. So what, you can't, like you said, you can't bring up one part of American history and not talk about all the atrocities they've done against the Lord's chosen people. So everything is like a closing sale. Everything has to go. It all got to go.
Right. Damn right. That's Officer on the Pot side, everybody. Officer 5000. If you need to get in hold of, if you're in Ohio, get a hold of that man, Southern Ohio, man. If you want, you can plug your school number real quick for anybody who may watch this.
Yeah, kind of 765-631-1129. If you in any of the Southern Ohio cities, Columbus, Cincinnati, or Dayton, get with me, man. We're going to get it on and build this nation.
Damn, definitely right. And also check out their podcast, What's Hood, What's Good Radio, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Am I right?
That's right. We talk about all the issues that go on in Southern Ohio and just bring them to the forefront. Just our little microcosm of what's going on here on a broader scale and, in America and around the world with these devils.
Damn right. Officer Madara, some closing statements.
Sure, all I got to say is our oppressor is nothing more than the devil that the Bible speaks of. And if the stories it is that we went over today don't show our people that, and if history don't show our people that, then, the Lord's going to show you in these coming days, you understand, that, our oppressor is truly our enemy.
Damn right. That's heavy. Like the brother said, the Lord, at the end of the day, the Lord will vindicate all truth and all righteousness, and he will destroy all wickedness. So at the end of the day, we got to get right with the Most High Time is short. Repent. Lay up your folly ground, man. Lay up your folly ground. Time is short. We have a little bit of time left, you understand, to get right before this thing really, like they would say, shit hits the fan. And when shit hits the fan, which means the Lord gets involved and really touches down even more so than he's already done with the coronavirus. Go to isupk.com for more information. You can get to school in Indianapolis. We got class Monday through Friday, 7 to 9, and Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon, 3532 North Keystone Avenue. Get down with the school. Call 317-453-0519. Learn this truth. You know, stop your sins. Stop eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. And you're going to see in these last days, it will pay off because the Most High will be with you. With that said, it's the Israelite School of UPK, Kentucky 8 Radio. Signing off for another show. We'll catch you again Friday at 9 p.m. Friday, 9 p.m. It's every Tuesday. And every Friday, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that said, shalom.
Shalom.
On this day in Louisville, Kentucky, these 8 men went to camp to speak the words of the Most High Power. And as they had done countless times before, but on this day, they were attacked by a vile mob of heathens and sinful men who sought to take their lives and stop them from raising up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
That's right.
However, in accordance to their training and the love that they had for one to another, they fought their attackers side by side.
That's right.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
On to death if necessary.
That's right.
And at the end of the conflict, they prevailed and returned to their homes and to their brethren and their wives and their children. All was lost except one thing they brought back. They brought back the Bible.
That's right.
And delivered it back to this nation.
That's right.
Shalom, Israel. You know what it is. This is Kentucky 8 Podcast.